John Chenal with CNBC. We're here at the Made by Google event in San Francisco. This is the new Pixel 2 XL, the 6-inch version. Google has a couple new features. One, they borrowed the squeeze feature from HTC. You can activate Google Assistant just by squeezing the edges of the phone. Also, Google carried over from the last Pixel, the Pixel 1. You have unlimited storage via the Google Cloud for your videos and for your images. A couple of other cool features. They have front-facing stereo speakers. Also, the screen, you notice, goes all the way to the edge of the phone. Really a big image area for viewing your photos or your videos. One thing you'll notice as soon as you pick up the Pixel 2, no headphone jack, because Google, like Apple, has eliminated it, now using wireless earbuds. The difference is the Google earbuds, called Pixel Buds, can translate conversations into 40 different languages. A demo that they showed here, really kind of breathtaking. Some other cool features about the phone, you could actually take a selfie just by squeezing the phone. Google showed some software today too where you could put augmented reality images right over it, a lot like what Apple is doing with their Art Kit. So this is really one of the most sophisticated things Google talked about today. Google Lens, which is essentially image recognition search. So we've got a great Stevie Wonder album right here, Songs in the Key of Life. I tap on it, Google will start activating and pull up a bunch of information that tells you what it is and how you can find out more information about it. All of the features, all of the specs in both phones, both the 5-inch size, the Pixel 2, and the 6-inch Pixel 2 XL. The Pixel 2 starts at $649, the Pixel 2 XL, $849.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.
What's up guys, Everything Apple Pro here, and I know that $1,000 is just digging a hole in your pocket. You want to throw it in Apple's face for the iPhone X, but before you do that, watch this video. I wanted to talk about the drawbacks of this revolutionary new product. Don't get me wrong, I am completely obsessed with it. I'm so happy this design came to light, but it's not without its drawbacks. So let's talk about those in this video and why you should not buy the iPhone X. In fact, 10 reasons not to do so. Now this is something not many people think about. This is a first generation products. I know 10th iPhone, what are you talking about, Philip? But no, this is an all new product from Apple. They said it's going to be leading the next 10 years of design. And with a new product like this, a new line, there will be issues, quirks, nagging, teething issues because of the new display, because of the new design. If you remember, the iPhone 4 had the antenna gate, the iPhone 6 had the bend gate where it was a bit soft, and no, not in this housing. Obviously, this is a replacement. But with every major shift in design for Apple, there always seems to be a major issue after release, so it's always good to wait it out. Now, for example, for me personally, when you're getting a new car, a new platform that has just been developed, there always seems to be a major issue with it. For me, it was the oil consumption on my A4 fixed in the next year's model. And oh boy, this one does not need to be said, the price. The number one reason why most people will not be buying the iPhone X. But it's just ridiculous how expensive this thing has got, and by buying it, you're basically telling Apple that that's okay, and really, I don't think it is. I think it's a little bit overpriced for what it is. The competitors have very similar displays at a lower price point, because that's essentially what you're paying for with the iPhone X, the display. And I think it's completely ridiculous to pay $150 just to go from 64 to 256 gigabytes in a phone. I know there is a NAND flash storage shortage that was created by the iPhone X, but wow, that is just ridiculous. And say you get the entry-level iPhone X with 64 gigabytes. For a phone so capable, so full of so much fun stuff you want to do with that camera, how is it going to last? I think that's just not enough storage for the base model. And I know Apple has the new video and photo codecs to take up less storage on your device. There's iCloud storage if you really need it, but still think about it. You download some games, some apps, record a little video, take some pictures, and before you know it, that 64 gigs is going to run out eventually. So I think it's not enough storage for an entry-level model. And one that will resonate with probably a lot of you, the cutout bar. I mean, the sensor bar on the iPhone X just takes away from the even design, from that really beautiful display. there was a better solution. A Redditor posted this image, and honestly, I would not be opposed to that, or with software to hide the notch. It just seems that a lot of people are very unhappy with that design, and maybe just another reason on your list to not get it. And one that honestly worries me, going from a plus-sized phone to the iPhone 10, you're actually getting cropped content. So a lot of your images, your video is going to be smaller because the display is slimmer. It's more in line with the iPhone 7 display. Yes, it's taller, but your content will still appear a little different. And because of that cutout bar, it's actually going to make a lot of your existing apps a pain to look at, just because it's going to be in the way. And there's actually a couple crafty solutions for this by some developers on Twitter, which I really liked. So Apple could do some great stuff with the software and with the notch. For example, scrolling, having this dynamic scrolling behavior. I think it's really cool. And from another developer, he solved the issue of the scrolling bar, which currently in the simulator just goes behind the notch. That's actually really neat. I would love to have that on my iPhone 10. Probably not something Apple would do though. And here's one that actually worries me. People that had a chance to view the iPhone 10 hands-on are saying the display is not that bright. Compared to the Galaxy Note 8, the iPhone 7 Plus, which has the same rated nits as the iPhone 10 at 625, appears very dim in a very brightly well-lit room. So I'm definitely hoping the next generation fixes that, but for now, that's an issue we're gonna have to deal with. And the whole Face ID thing. Face ID has its own conveniences, say your fingers are wet or dirty and you can't scan it normally with Touch ID, but it also has its detriments as well. Compared to Touch ID, you're gonna have to look at your phone every single time to unlock it, and it doesn't seem as fast as Touch ID to me. I'll definitely have to test that though. And I really hate the fact that Apple is forcing you to buy things to use your iPhone 10 naturally. First off, fast charging can't be activated without this expensive power brick, and you can't even plug in your brand new iPhone 10 into your MacBook without having to buy an adapter or new cable. And for those still on the fence, here's something to make you a little bit more optimistic about your current device. If you have an iPhone 7 or 6s, these are still benchmark chart toppers. They are incredibly fast. Yes, in comparison to the new one, it's a little bit slower seemingly on paper, but has your phone suddenly gotten slower just because the new one came out? I'd also like to point out that iOS 11 is right around the corner here. It makes your device feel different, feel new, something fresh. So if that's what you were looking for, with iOS 11 you'll actually get a new feeling on your existing phone. No need to spend $1,000 just to get that fresh new feeling again. And I'd like to summarize by saying yes, I personally will still be getting the iPhone 10, but I recognize the flaws. It is not a perfect device just because it's the most expensive and the flagship model right now. It definitely isn't for everybody. So I hope you and me agree on at least a couple points from this video. I hope I'm not crazy on that part, but this is an incredible phone, don't get me wrong. There are still many reasons not to buy it though.
These are the top 5 biggest problems and top 5 best features of the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I don't like about the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL is the lack of a 3.5mm headphone jack. While the industry seems to be moving towards a totally wireless future when it comes to cell phones, I'm not really buying it quite just yet. Now, we do have several Bluetooth options for headphones and earplugs. Nothing quite beats the convenience of having a high quality set of earbuds that you can just plug into your phone. Google will be including a 3.5mm headphone adapter that plugs right into the USB-C port, but if you do lose that adapter, it's going to cost you $20 for a new adapter. That being said, dongles are incredibly easy to lose, and who really wants to have to keep up with a dongle anyway? The next complaint that I have focuses on the Pixel 2 and the fact that it only includes a 1080p display. Google's making you spend an extra $200 and making you tote around a bigger phone if you want that QHD Plus experience. It could be argued that you don't really need all those extra pixels on the smaller display, but you can still tell a huge difference between 1080p and QHD Plus. It can also be argued that 1080p consumes less battery, and since the smaller version of the phone has a much smaller battery than the larger version of the phone, that it actually is a benefit to have the 1080p display. I personally just would have liked to have seen that QHD Plus technology in both devices and to not have to pay an extra $200 to get the QHD display. There are plenty of other sub $500 phones that have a QHD display. While I can actually live with a 1080p display, I really can't stand the fact that Google decided to skip wireless charging on the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. Apple has finally joined the party on the iPhone 8 and iPhone 10 with wireless charging. Why in the world wouldn't Google step up their game here and also give us wireless charging on the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL? Now that Apple has adopted the technology, we're going to see it all over the place, and it's going to be much more accessible. You'll see it become more common in public places, and it would just be nice to have the feature on this phone that's going to run you $700 or $900 depending on which version you go with. Expandable storage is something that Google has shied away from on their devices for the past several generations, and I don't ever see that becoming a thing on a Google Pixel device. The main reason for that is they are pushing their cloud services, but personally I just wish that we had the option for expandable storage with a micro SD card slot. That way you'd be able to store plenty of 4K resolution videos right there on your device, and you wouldn't have to worry about a great internet connection to get those videos uploaded to the cloud. The Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL are finally water resistant with an IP rating of 67. That's good and all, and I'm glad that Google finally put water resistance on their Pixel lineup. They've totally eliminated the headphone jack, and they're only able to get that IP67 waterproofing when there are other smartphones out there like the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 that are able to provide an IP68 waterproofing. With the IP67 rating, the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL are totally dust proof, and they're waterproof up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. Now, if they were able to get that IP68 rating, that would mean that they'd be able to be submerged a little bit deeper for a longer period of time. I really wish that they would have just stepped it up just a little bit for such expensive devices, you know, $700 after taxes on the 64 gigabyte version of the Pixel 2 and $900+ after taxes on the Pixel 2 XL. Before we move on to the top 5 features, one quick little note: the Pixel 2 XL, which is made by LG, who also made the LG V30, will not be featuring Band 71 with 600 megahertz support on the T-Mobile network. I was really hoping that the LG-made Pixel 2 XL would also feature this support for that band. Basically what it does is it allows for signal to penetrate buildings a lot better if you're on T-Mobile's network. That will also be the band that they're building out their 5G network. So to future-proof this device, it would have been nice to see that baked in. I really wasn't expecting it on the Pixel 2, but on the Pixel 2 XL, I'm kind of disappointed to not see that functionality there. While there are a few minor things missing from the Pixel 2 and 2 XL, there's still plenty to love. The first feature that I really love from these devices has to be the dual front-facing speakers. Nexus devices were known for the dual front-facing speakers, and it provided the very best audio experience if you're watching content on your phone itself. With bottom-firing speakers, you often find your hand covers up the speaker, making for a less than optimal viewing experience. With the two speakers blasting out sound directly towards your ear, you really just get a depth and fullness of sound, which is unparalleled. I'm glad to see that old Nexus feature finally being implemented into the Pixel lineup. The next thing that I love about the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL has to be that best-in-class camera. I love the fact that the camera is the same whether you go with the Pixel 2 or Pixel 2 XL. You're not having to pay the extra amount like you do with the iPhone Plus to get the better camera option. We've got a 12 megapixel camera with that dual pixel technology, which just helps increase the light coming into the photo. We also get full optical image stabilization. We also get a portrait mode on the front-facing camera and rear-facing camera that doesn't require dual lenses. It's also worth noting that the camera on the Pixel 2 and 2 XL gets an unprecedented rating from DxOMark of 98. That beats out the competition, you know, the Note 8 and the iPhone 8 by 4 points. One of the main reasons you would buy a Pixel 2 or 2 XL is because you want pure unadulterated Android, and that's what you're going to get from these devices. You'll get the latest version of Android, and you also get a guaranteed 3 years of updates. That's more than can be said for just about any other phone on the market, and I really enjoy the fact that Google is committed to keeping their devices updated as long as they are. While Google is not allowing you to use a micro SD card inside of the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL, they are offering you unlimited storage of photos and videos on the Google Photos app. Now that's more than what can be said from other manufacturers. The iPhone offers you 5 gigabytes of storage on their iCloud service, and most of you know that 5 gigabytes amounts to just about nothing. After that, you do have to pay for your storage with iCloud. It's worth mentioning that with Google Photos, you are allowed to store unlimited amounts of full quality photos and videos for 2 years. That service will be taken away from you after 2 years. Now, I'm sure this offer will be made available with every Pixel that comes out every year. So as long as you're sticking with the Pixel platform, you should have unlimited high quality image uploading with your Google Photos account. Finally, Google has integrated the squeeze technology from the HCU 11. If you squeeze the Pixel 2 or 2 XL, you will launch the Assistant application, and from there you can ask Google Assistant to do just about anything. As you can see, there's plenty to love about the Pixel 2 and 2 XL. I, for one, have already pre-ordered my Pixel 2. What are your thoughts? Are the few problems that exist with the phone enough to keep you away from this device? Or is the Pixel 2 and 2 XL the phone you've been waiting for, just eager to throw your money at the screen? Let me know in the comments